Hello friends, welcome to C Sharp Intermediate to Advanced tutorial. Now you are watching part 6 of the subseries CH Reflection. So in the previous 5 videos we retrieved the assembly related information. Now we will concentrate on type related information. So first we will display the properties, and before that we will display all the classes exposed by the DLL, or all the classes exposed by the assembly. Then we will iterate through each class and retrieve the property exposed by the class. So here, if you see, once user clicks retrieve test class info, here we know that our DLL contains only one class, so we named this button as retrieve test class info. But if the assembly contains more than one class, the sample will still work. So here if you see, first we displayed the types, and we know that at this moment we have only one class, test class, and when we are testing we will add two more class, and we will check whether it is listing all the types. So here when user clicks this specific button, so on the click event, first we will clear the multi-line text box. So this is the multi-line text box, we will clear it. Then we will create instances, we will create instance of our test class. After that we make call to display type info, and we pass our text box instance. So we should have written this as a utility method so that it is applicable to any class. But here when we implemented it, we kept this as a member method of test class. But still it retrieves all other class information inside the DLL. So we are making call to display type info, right? So that's the method definition here. And so this code is part of the exe. Here it's in DLL, and if you see assembly dot get executing assembly, so we have DLL assembly in hand. Then this is the method we are using, get types. So the get types will retrieve all the types exposed by the DLL. So if you have 3 or 4 classes, all 4 classes will get retrieved, and if you have structure, enum, all those type will get retrieved. And the get types retrieves, the get types returns an array of a type, so we are storing that as a reference. Next, if you see here, we are just printing a message. so that you are seeing here. Then we have integer variable, and this integer variable is useful to provide a sequence number. So for each loop, if you see types we are retrieving, and we iterate over each type retrieved from the executing assembly. So our example contains only one type, so the for loop will run for one time, but if you add more class, it will run for all the types retrieved. So inside we are doing x++, and here if you see type dot name, so this will give us the class name. Instead of saying class name, we can say type name. So if the type is class, it will give the class name, and if the type is a structure, it will give name of the structure. So that's all. X.toString. So here 1 2 3 you are seeing, right? That's what this one. Then type.name, that's what the class name, test class, my class, one more class, all those stuff are retrieved by this type name. So here we are displaying the type name, right? That is a class name. Inside we will write one more function called show properties, and for this show properties we are passing the type name. So in each iteration we will get one class name. That means we are passing that class retrieved and then our text box instance. So in this example, if you see, the type retrieved is a test class, and our goal here is to retrieve both these properties and display that. Here you can see prop member and other attributes are displayed. Now let's see how we can write it. So just like type, here we are showing properties that is displayed here. After that we will run a for each loop. Before that we need to retrieve all the properties for the type given, or for the type passed in as a parameter. So type dot get properties. So here if it is a class, we can get all the property. So type dot get properties, it will retrieve collection of property info. Just like what we did previously, we have a variable to generate the sequence number, then we iterate over the property info collection. So for each property info prop in props, then inside the loop we retrieve the property name, then we say prop.canRead. This property will return a boolean true or false based on whether it is the property is readable. Similarly, when you ask for property prop.canWrite, prop means a property info.canWrite, and canWrite will tell whether the specific property is writable. So this way, if you see here, we are displaying the property name, that's one here. Then So property name, prop member, read, true, write, true. That means this property doesn't have any restriction. You can do both read and write. The second time when the loop runs, it retrieves the next property, int member. Int member, if you see, you can read this, but you can't write. That means it's a read only property. So what you have to note here is type.getProperties will retrieve you the property info. Then we are iterating over the property info. Then prop.name, can read, can write. These are all the properties of the property info, and we are making use of that and displaying the relevant information here. Alright, now let's go to the demo and see how it works. So now we will go to a forum reflection form. And we will handle the retrieve test class info. Alright, we already wrote one function. So this one we forgot to specify. To work with the reflection, you have to work with the reflection, you have to include this namespace system.reflection. So display type info, if you see here, it is complaining, I guess, generate method in the test class. Why? Because we haven't yet created it. So once you click this, and if you go to test class, you will be seeing this method. By default, it will throw method not implemented. Now we will delete that. Anyhow, we are going to implement it now. So we will put a comment first. Next, we retrieve the next we retrieve the executing assembly. Then from here we get the types. So after retrieving the types, we print a standard message. Then we iterate through this types collection. We retrieve each and every type and we print that here. Now the executing assembly is a test reflection, we know that, and if you come here to the class view, you can see to test reflection contains a namespace, then it has a class. So here we have only one class, right? Now if I execute this, we will rebuild this. Now we can execute it, and if you see, it shows a test class. Now let's right click on this namespace. Okay, we will go to the Solution Explorer, right click here, add new class, second class. Then we will add one more class. So now our executing assembly, that means the DLL contains 3 classes. We will build this once. And we will run our sample. And you can see now it displays all 3 classes. So everything is happening at runtime, right? So that's what the reflection is. Now since we tested this, and we can delete it. So inside this for each loop, for the type, we will make a call to get the properties. So as usual, now it is showing so if you see here, display type info, it iterates through the executing assembly and gets all the classes in the DLL or the assembly. Then when after displaying the class name, we are making call to show properties. That means here we will iterate through the class and get all the property and display its details. So here we are displaying some informative text stating that we are going to display properties. Then from the type we already retrieved here, that's the types collection. So here in this case we will get our test class as the type that is passed here to show property. We are coming here, the type is a test class, and type dot get properties. That means we will retrieve these two information in the form of a property info array. So that's here in the props. Next, since we have the props, we can iterate through it and display the name, gets the name of the current member, can read, gets value indicating whether the property can be read, can write, it tells whether property is writable. Now let's go to this property. Int, if you see, we have only the get version. That means you can retrieve data from this property. Since there is no set, you cannot write it anything to the int member. So that means it's a read-only property. Then prop member, if you see here, we have both get as well as set version. That means prop member is read as well as write member. All right, now we will run this. So first we displayed the type test class. After that we are displaying properties that's in the test class. That's all here in this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.